That's right, Chris. You know, Jameis Winston making a big splash as a freshman is nothing new because he did the same exact thing playing as a ninth grader at Hueytown High School in Alabama. Guys, he played in Class 6A, the largest classification in Alabama, and he led his team to a 6-5 record. As a freshman, guys, threw for over 700 yards and 12 TDs and was listed on our roster as 6'3", 180 pounds. And obviously in the last 5 years, he has filled out greatly to the point where he's just dominating for Florida State right now. But guys, I remember talking to his coach after the season, and he said, Steve, I think I may have the best freshman in the state of Alabama and maybe in the entire Southeast, and it's pretty clear that he had perhaps the best freshman in the entire country, because that's what Jameis Winston looks like now playing for Florida State. But guys, always fun looking back and seeing a guy, what he did in high school when he's now doing big things on the collegiate level.
He's pretty good.
He's pretty good. Those plays, that block where he got out and led the block and then the run for the TD, it's incredible. But he's a great college quarterback right now. But let's talk about some high school quarterbacks that college fans should know about.
Yeah, you know, I think what we're seeing, guys, around the sport of football at all levels is quarterbacks are maturing so much earlier in the process. They have specialized coaches and camps and combines and instructions and the abundance of film to be able to study. Guys are just making that step and that transition more easily, and they are ready sooner than in years past. That's why we see this kind of emergence of freshmen in the collegiate level, and we're seeing it in high school now. But guys to look for next year in college, we'll start with Keller Chryst, quarterback from Palo Alto High School in Northern California. I mean, just tremendous pedigree, guys. His father's the quarterbacks coach for the San Francisco 49ers. So he's, you know, you imagine what their dinner conversations are like, breaking down film and talking about the position. But he's already tossed for 1,462 yards to go along with 16 touchdowns. And so, you know, Kevin Hogan seems pretty well entrenched to that starting job at Stanford. But when Keller Chryst arrives in Palo Alto on campus next fall, you got to think that he'll at least contend and compete for that starting position. Next guy up is Will Grier from Davidson Day High School in North Carolina, committed to the University of Florida. He's completed 194 of his 276 pass attempts, guys, for 2,830 yards and 48 touchdowns. He's only been intercepted 6 times, and kind of adding to that mature development of these quarterbacks is, you know, the offensive schemes that these guys are running in high school, you know, are not that unlike some of the spread schemes that they will run in college. And Will Grier certainly is comfortable airing the ball out, and that will help with his transition to the University of Florida, a school that we've seen have a lot of inconsistent quarterback play. So don't be surprised if Will Grier steps in next fall for the Gators and competes for that starting QB job. Next up, we have Gerard Hurd, one of the top dual threat quarterbacks in the country, guys. He's actually the #2 dual threat quarterback according to 24/7 Sports. Only 6'1", 190 pounds, but he's a tremendous athlete, also a basketball player. You love what he can do with both his arm and his legs. He plays for one of Texas's top programs in Denton-Guyer High School, and he is a good commit for Mac Brown in the University of Texas. Now we move to Georgia and the state's all-time leading passer, Deshaun Watson from Gainesville High School. Believe it or not, he was the state's all-time leading passer by the end of his junior season, and he's just padded those stats now as a senior. He has thrown in his career, guys, 11,660 yards and 137 touchdowns. Tack on another 3,413 yards and 51 scores on the ground, and he's going to finish his career with probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 16 or 17,000 yards from the line of scrimmage and close to 200 career touchdowns. So simply a phenomenal career for Deshaun Watson, and Taj Boyd goes pro. Don't be surprised if Clemson uses Deshaun Watson early in his collegiate career. Finally, guys, we will head back to the state of California. This time we'll go to Southern California and Chaminade quarterback Brad Kaya, leader of kind of a surprise team. Chaminade this year, they're 5-2. They beat Oaks Christian. They beat Notre Dame and Sherman Oaks. And he's thrown for 1,638 yards and 11 touchdowns. He's a very polished thrower. He's committed to the University of Miami. Guys, when he arrives at Coral Gables next fall, he will likely compete with the likes of Kevin Olsen for the starting QB job for the Hurricanes. Like I said, guys, the offenses that they're running, the training that they're going through, the film that they're able to study, these guys are ready to compete when they make that jump to the college ranks.